Going on, y'all? FNG the Pro TV back here for another video for y'all today. So what we're gonna do here is for this next week here, just gonna play a little bit of this franchise. I woke up super early this morning. Woke up about an hour ago and figured, you know what, might as well just sit here and play this game and talk about a couple things. I'm gonna throw a dip in real quick and then move on from there. Thomas Smith finished the game with 9 touchdown catches. I play wide receiver, by the way. So that's kind of funny. Let's go look at all the freaking records we just freaking broke real quick before we start talking about the main topic. But dang, I don't know. Oh, here we go. See, I thought I was gonna have to freaking pick a new team to play for, because I was getting aggravated. Let's go look and see where we're at. Yeah. Let's go look at the NFL right now. Yeah, nobody is anywhere near catching us in that. Yeah. Honestly, if we ran the Wildcat and we ran, pass plays, we could have the most rushing yards as well as most receiving yards. Hell, we could probably even freaking break a bunch of running back records too. Let's go look at the NFL records. Let's go look at a season. Yeah, well, let's look at a season. Let's look at receiving yards in a season. That's it. How many receiving yards you gotta get in a season? Well, we're at 1,200, so yeah, we're at 1,200. So literally, like one more game, and we could have that record done. Yeah, okay. Receiving touchdowns, 23. Well, we got 9 in one game, and then like 10, 11, 12, 13. So we got like 13 right now. Catches in a season. I don't know how many catches we have. Let's go look at in a game. Kirk Cousins has that because of us. Passing touchdown. 10. Rushing yards. Rushing touchdown. Receiving yards in a game. 783. One game. One game. Alright, 783. Season 9. 28. 20. Oh, fuck. Okay. Let's go look at the awards. So week 1 we didn't get it. Week 2, week 3. Oh Lord. Okay. Nah, I just thought that was funny as hell. We got a bunch of XP and stuff we can use on our dude too, which is cool. Speed 95. I don't know. We could upgrade catching quite a bit. That'd probably be. We're just gonna upgrade catching. I'm just gonna upgrade that all the way. Um, I don't know what else to use. Upgrade this a bunch. I don't know. See, these are a couple of the things that I need to get though. I need aggressive catch and possession catch. I also need to get drops open passes. I don't drop open passes. Okay, that's good. Thought I did. Okay, cool. So we'll take that and we'll move on. Skip. Alright. So the main topic that I want to talk about today was, well, number one, I bought a new tool today, or yesterday. I bought the Matco half-inch impact. I don't remember what the part number is for it, but it's green. And I'm telling y'all, that thing fucking eats. Like, I'm gonna, with using that impact, it has, you know, speed select and everything. It's a really good impact. I mean, that thing is going to break something. It is that just, I don't know. I'm at the point where, like, you know, they want me to torque lug nuts or whatever, and that's, like, not my thing. Like, I don't feel like I need to torque the lug nuts with that gun. But, you know, I'll do whatever they want me to do, whatever. It's not a big deal. But the fact is, if y'all are looking for a decent impact to get, that, you know, it's not $700 from Snap-on, get the Matco. Same power, guarantee it. I mean, same or close to the same, power. And it's only like 400 bucks. Well, it's a little bit more than 400. I owe $381 on it still when I put 50 down on it, so it's like $4 something. They got like a sale on it right now from the Matco dealer. So if you're looking for a good impact, then I recommend buying that one. This is really cool. I like how they did the walkouts this year on this game.
So they'll be looking, Charles, to make it 2 in a row.
And what I enjoyed when I watched their game tape and their victory last week is they put it together in every phase.
So, the thing about it though, you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, friends and stuff, not y'all or nothing like that, because I just started doing this whole thing here recently. The graphics in this game look really nice. Let's just take a minute to stop and think about that. Then again, it might just be because I haven't played video games in a long time, because I've been so busy with work. But the thing about it though is, you know, a lot of people want to know, you know, is being an automotive tech right now, you know, is it worth it? Is being an automotive tech worth it right now in today's, you know, automotive? And a lot of people want to know that, and the best way that, you know, I can put it out there is if it's worth it or not. It's up, I mean, it's really just up to you. It really just comes down to you, whether you think it's worth it or not. It really just comes down to, you know, your personal opinion on it. If you think it's worth it or not. Like flat rate, um, the thing about flat rate is a lot of people complain about it. And if anybody should be complaining about flat rate, it probably should be me. Yesterday I was in the shop for 10 hours and I only turned like 3 hours all day. I worked on 6 cars and I averaged half an hour on every car. That's, I mean, when it's slow, it's slow. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, when you think about it hand in hand, you know, with the Snap-on dealer and, you know, all these tool dealers or whatever, you know, they're charging you all kinds of money for, you know, tools. It gets annoying. It gets really annoying because, you know, you have to make a payment every week on your tools. Me, I only buy one tool at a time because I know that, you know, what if
That's the mantra of every organization. The key is having guys on the roster who are capable of filling in and playing at a high.
oh my lord, you never know. I could get fired next week and I'll have a paycheck and I only got one tool out on loan. So what that, you know, what that says and what that means is, you know, okay, I only got one tool out on, you know, I'm only financing one tool at a time. So only financing one tool at a time, you know, only financing one tool at a time means, you know, my next paycheck, if I got fired tomorrow, my next paycheck that I get, I'll be able to pay that tool off tomorrow. You know, I'll be able to pay that tool off, well, not tomorrow, but on, you know, on Friday I get a paycheck, I'll be able to pay my tool off and it won't be a big deal. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. That's just things that you gotta look at. I mean, when you're buying tools, you could really hurt yourself really quickly on the tool truck. A lot of people say, you know, don't even get on the tool truck. Well, the thing is, you're gonna get on the tool truck because getting on that tool truck is everything. I mean, let's be honest, when you look at everybody else's tools and look at yours, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like a thing where you feel like you're obligated to get on that tool truck, due to, you know, being influenced by your, you know, the people around you. Me personally, you know, I don't care what nobody says about what I got or nothing like that. I get on the tool truck for tools that I need. I don't go out. I'm not going out. I know I'm not doing very much of diag work right now. Do I have a scan tool? Yes, I got a scan tool. But the thing about, you know, having a scan tool is, that, you know, how often do I use it? I don't really use my scan tool all too much. I mean, most of the time is I'll pull a code off of a car and, you know, I'll tell them what the code means. I mean, that's about as far as it goes. You know, nobody wants to really pay to fix it. Oh my God. How often do people really, you know, pay to get their car fixed? I mean, nobody ever really wants to pay to have their vehicles fixed or whatever. So it's kind of like, what's the point of me, you know, buying a $15,000 scan tool or anything like that? So you kind of got to look at a few things when you're buying tools. You know, what kind of work are you doing in the shop? Now, this is for, you know, new guys who are just getting into the industry. I mean, because I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna be doing your first year. No matter which way you look at it, your first year being in an automotive shop is gonna be oil changes and tires, and the tools that you need for that is to do an oil change. You need a good, decent set of wrenches. They don't have to be, you know, to do an oil change, you don't need tool truck wrenches to do an oil change. I mean, you can go out buy yourself a decent set of Craftsman. Go buy yourself a decent set of Craftsman, or I mean, really, if the budget's tight, like it was for me when I first started, go out and buy yourself a good set of Pittsburgh. I mean, I still have Pittsburgh wrenches in my toolbox today. You know, Pittsburgh makes a decent wrench. They're not great, but they're decent. They'll get an oil change done. You know, go even further, get yourself a 3/8 Pittsburgh ratchet. I still use a Pittsburgh ratchet today. I don't have any, you know, Matco or Snap-on ratchet or anything like that. I got a Pittsburgh 3/8 ratchet that I use. Will I upgrade to the Matco ratchet? Yeah, after I pay this Impact I just bought from them off. After I pay this Impact wrench off from Matco, I'm going to buy the Matco 3/8 flex head, locking flex head ratchet from Matco. But that's just simply because I like it. I just think it's a good ratchet, and I think it's something that'll help me do my job a lot easier. You know, from Snap-on, what am I looking to buy from Snap-on? Snap-on has an adjustable wrench that I like to do, that I've been borrowing from, you know, a guy at work when I do alignments and stuff like that. When I do alignments, I use his adjustable wrench to do the alignment for toe bolts. You know, adjusting toe and adjusting rear. You know, if I'm gonna do like rear camber or something like that, and then, you know, I use it for that. It's a nice wrench. It's not bad, and you know, I like it, whatever. So that's cool. That's a cool thing. But and from Snap-on, they have a funnel that has, you know, when you're doing oil changes and stuff, it has the different adaptation, the different adapter pieces or whatever. So that's cool too. You know, I plan on buying that from Snap-on next week. You know, I'm slowly building my arsenal up. You know, I've been doing this for pretty much about 4 years now, and I have a Craftsman toolbox with, you know, it's not like this big giant Snap-on box or nothing like that, or the Matco Revel X, or, you know, or an Epic Snap-on box or anything. I mean, it's nothing like that. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything like that. And that's, you know, the thing that I don't think people understand is, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you need this, you need that. You don't. I mean, the work that I do, did I need that 1/2 inch impact? Yes, I did need that 1/2 inch impact. Quite honestly, you know, what will I do with that Matco 3/8? What I'm going to do with that 3/8 ratchet from Matco is I'm going to go ahead and probably just pay for it in full. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and I'm probably going to go ahead and pay that ratchet off in full. And then on top of that, I'll probably go ahead and start, you know, leasing out another tool from them, which is going to be a 3/8 impact stubby, so I can do brake work a lot faster. It's not really going to be a tool that, I mean, I don't do all that much brake work, but I do enough of it to the point where, you know, I feel like, you know, if I had that, I could do brakes a lot quicker. And that's, I mean, that's the point of buying tools, to make your job easier and make you more efficient. That's just kind of how it works. And I think that's, you know, I think that's a big thing that people don't really think about or understand is, you know, when you're buying a tool, what are you buying that tool for? I mean, when you buy a tool, you're buying tools to make your job easier. At the end of the day, that is the reason and the point of buying tools, is to make your job easier, make it faster, make it more efficient. And, you know, don't buy tools you don't need. Like me, like for me right now, for me to buy, like, okay, like for me to buy a hose pick, a hose pick would be a decent, you know, tool to buy. But do I need to buy it right now? No, because I haven't, you know, even done any coolant hoses or anything like that yet. At this shop that I'm at now, you know, right now I'm just trying to buy tools that I'm gonna, I mean, you buy tools, like being new, like me buying tool truck tools is new to me. You know, I've, for the past couple of years, just gotten away with, so now I'm really starting to get, you know, bigger into the automotive thing, which I was already big into it before, where, you know, I had a lot more tools. I had a bunch of snap-on tools and everything. When I worked at Ford, I had a snap-on toolbox, I had snap-on tools, but I, you know, I traded them all back in. When I left Ford, I traded all my tools back in, because when I left Ford, my intentions was, you know, when I left that dealership, my intentions was, I'm done. You know, I don't want to do automotive no more. You know, if I'm not working at the dealership, I just don't see myself working on cars no more. And that's just kind of how it was. I just, you know, I don't know how to really explain it any better than that. You know, I just, as far as not wanting to be, I just didn't want to do automotive anymore, and that's just kind of how it was for me. I didn't want to do automotive anymore. I didn't see myself doing automotive anymore, and, you know, I felt like I was going to get away from it. And, well, I left it. I left automotive for a decent amount of time, and did some other, you know, work, like crawl space work and stuff like that, thinking that, you know, I wanted to learn a new trade, and thought maybe I would, you know, enjoy doing, you know, something like carpentry or something like that more, which turned into, you know, I don't mind doing automotive because I like to take things apart. You know, I enjoy taking things apart to the point where, you know, and putting them back together and, you know, doing stuff like that. I mean, it's just kind of like interesting. You know, automotive is interesting to me. I enjoy to do automotive, and it's just something that I enjoy to do. Do I think I'm being paid fair? No. You know, I'm making, at Ford, I was making pretty much every other week I'd make a $1,200 paycheck, but for the most part I was making at least $800 a week. So when you go from making money like that to, you know, making whatever, it's kind of annoying. Like, it's really annoying. You know, I was making $15 an hour at Ford. Well, Firestone, I'm making $14. And do I think I'm being paid adequately for, you know, my experience? No. But as far as tools, as far as my tool selection goes and how much tools that I have, am I getting paid fairly? Yeah, I think I'm being paid fairly, an hour anyway, for the tools that I have. Flat rate wise, you know, as much work in that shop, do I think there's enough work? I just don't believe there's enough work. I just don't think there's enough work in this shop right now for as many techs that are in it at one time. I mean, you think about it, we have one hourly kid, right? Well, with that one hourly kid, then we turn it into, you know, we have an hourly kid, and then we have a, how many other techs do we have? Well, probably, you know, we have one, me, a female, and 2 dudes. So we have 4, you know, flat rate techs, and then we have, you know, an hourly kid. So we have 5, pretty much 5 people that work in that shop. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, 5 bays and an alignment rack. So there's enough space. There's enough space, but I mean, like yesterday we had 4 people in the shop at one time. 4 people in the shop. I think the most hours that got turned yesterday was 6. The person who turned the most hours yesterday turned 6 hours. I turned half of that. But I worked on 6 cars compared to, you know, they worked on 3. So they were getting paid pretty much. I actually jumped over him. What it came down to, though, I mean, did you just, I don't know. It gets annoying. I mean, it really does get annoying, though. Me with alignments, a lot of work that I've been doing in that shop here recently has been alignments and tires. I've done a lot of tires. I've done a lot of alignments. I don't feel like they're trying to sell. Thought I caught that. I don't really think they're trying to push, you know, sales. When I recommend something, I don't appreciate, you know, what they do to me when it comes down to me trying to sell something compared to, you know, somebody else in that shop trying to sell something. They make me feel like I'm, you know, some crooked, you know, technician or something like that. When I try to sell something, I'm trying to sell it because I feel as if, you know, the customer actually needs it, and they, you know, talk about, so the main things that I mostly, you know, I'm pretty much trying to sell all the time is, you know, brakes. When it comes down to, you know, brakes or whatever, when it comes down to, you know, what I'm trying to sell, I try to sell brakes. I try to sell brake flushes. I try to sell a lot of batteries, brakes, brake flushes. You know, you really have to, you know, to get into this field of work. There's no easy, you know, day. You're not going to have an easy day. You're either going to work on a lot of cars and turn no hours because all you're doing all day is people want. It really just comes down to what the customer wants to pay for. You know, like today I worked on a Nissan, or yesterday I worked on a God dang. I worked on a Nissan that had 300,000 miles on it. Well, it needed a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. And all they wanted to pay for was, you know, a flat repair. They had a nail in their tire, and it came down to it like, you know, well, you know, you also need this and this and this, but you're not wanting to pay for any of that. Or I worked on a Saturn yesterday as well that had an oil change, and they wanted a brake inspection. Well, I did the brake inspection. Well, their rotors were kind of warped out, and on top of that, other than their rotors being warped out, they had like no brake pad left. You know, they said the brakes were squealing, whatever. Well, here's the thing about that is, you know, I tried to sell them pretty much a full brake job. I mean, they needed calipers. I mean, their calipers were grabbing harder on one side than the other. You know, warping their rotors out and, you know, killing their brake pad. Their rotors are, you know, being warped out or whatever, and then on top of all of that, I mean, it just come down to you know, they needed rotors. I mean, at least get their rotors resurfaced because they were warped, which was going to cause, you know, some brake squeal. On top of that, whoever did their brakes before, you know, put pads on their, whoever put, you know, brake pads on that car, you know, they didn't even, you know, I don't even know what the hell this is. You know, it came down to it, like, they didn't, I don't even know, freaking advertisements. You know, you want a brake inspection, you want your brakes fixed, but then, you know, it's like they get the price and they're just like, well, you know, maybe I don't need this, or, you know, maybe I don't, you know, they pick and choose, which I understand, you know, whatever. I mean, it's just it's just annoying to the fact that, you know, you're wasting my time. When you want a brake inspection, I give you, you know, a quality brake inspection. Like, I go through every last thing on a vehicle. And it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like, it's almost like, you know, kind of like feeling like, you know, your time is being wasted because I'm not getting paid. When I do a brake inspection, you know, I'm thoroughly going through it. I'm trying to find, you know, the issue. I'm trying to diagnose, you know, the main concern. Customer says, you know, I got brake squeal. My brakes are squealing. Okay. So, here's the thing with that. Right. Okay. So, people don't want to pay for nothing. People don't want to pay for nothing. I mean, it's just simple as that. People do not want to pay for anything. When it comes down to, you know, say they got to pay for this or they got to pay for that or whatever, you know, they hear that price and they're just like, well, I ain't paying for that. And it's kind of like, well, what did you expect? You came to this shop thinking, you know, you're going to leave here paying no money for some brakes, and you're thinking, you know, you got this simple problem that's going to be fixed, no problem. You know, brake squeal, simple fix, right? Well, then I get down into the nitty gritty with your, you know, 2002 Saturn, and, you know, once I get down into the nitty gritty with it, you know, it came out to be, you know, I take the measurements of your rotor. You know, the rotors are all kinds of different crazy numbers. You know, they're warped out. And you got these warped out rotors, and it's like, well, yeah, your rotors are warped. They're different, you know, measurements, whatever the measurements are, so different. You know, your rotors are so much different, and then, you know, I look on one side, and, you know, your front brakes, you got, you know, 3 millimeter you got 3 millimeters on, you know, the driver's side front. And then on the other side, you know, I'm looking at your other, you know, brake pads on the other side, and there's freaking 6 millimeter on them. That's, you know, something to be concerned about. And then when I hit the brakes in your car, you know, the car is pulling to one side, which tells me, and there's a lot of shake. Well, with all that shake, you have all of this shake or whatever. And it's like, well, you know, this is why your vehicle is doing this. This is why it's doing that. And it's kind of just like, you know, it's just annoying to a fact. I mean, it's just the fact that it's really annoying trying to explain this to a customer. Like, you know, it's not me explaining it, it's just me writing the information down, and it's just like, you know, you don't want your car fixed. You either want your car fixed or you don't want it fixed. I mean, don't come here to get information to not have it fixed. So it's it's more or less, you know, do you want it fixed or don't you? I mean, there's nothing that I can't fix your vehicle if you won't let me. If you don't want your vehicle fixed, I can't fix it. You know, but don't sit there and complain that, you know, your brakes are squealing or whatever. Because here's the thing. I understand, you know, money might be tight or whatever. You know, it's a hard economy and all of that. But, you know, when you come into a shop to get, you know, this done or whatever, and, you know, you got to pay for that inspection. And you did get an oil change, and that's cool. But an oil change pays, you know, 3/10, which is, you know, 0.3 for an oil change is 18 minutes, and then, you know, I get paid 1/10 to courtesy inspect it, which, you know, pays 24 minutes total to do this oil change, and then, you know, it pays like another 24 minutes to do a brake inspection, where I got to pull all 4 tires off and everything else. And, you know, you're sitting here, people want all this stuff done to their vehicle. You know, they come into the shop thinking, oh, well, you know, I'm going to get it fixed. And, you know, they talk all this. They talk about how to go get it fixed or whatever. And that's great. You know, get it fixed. You know, if you're going to get it fixed, get it fixed. If you're not, then don't waste the technician's time. You know, don't sit there and tell me, you know, well, yeah, I'm going to get it fixed. You know, just tell me what's wrong with it. And that's a big thing. I mean, when I see a brake inspection to me says, you know, take the time to diagnose the problem. And, you know, if they know that there's an issue with their brake system, then that should tell me that, you know, they're going to buy the brakes. I didn't even ask for that. You just threw it to me. And didn't even throw it to me. But, you know, it comes down to, you know, when a technician sees brake inspection, they're like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to sell some brakes if there's an issue here. You know, obviously there's an issue if a customer is asking about it. You know, that makes my job easier. I don't have to... I like to see... I like to see when a customer already knows there's an issue. That's what I like to see, because it typically means they're going to buy something. You know, when a customer already sees, you know, the issue or whatnot, You know, that's really cool. That typically, you know, in my head that says, you know, you're going to fix the problem. You're not going to waste my time to inspect it to give you information. I hate giving customers information when, you know, they want to know what's wrong with the car. Okay. So you're going to fix it yourself. You're a do-it-yourselfer or whatever. That's cool. You know, do it yourself. But I'm going to tell you a story about what I've seen with, you know, the DIY guy. You know, when it came down to it. Yeah, people say, oh yeah, I'm gonna fix it myself. Well, if you can't diagnose the problem yourself, then that tells me that you can't fix it yourself. Or not even to the fact that you know, you can't fix it yourself. It's more of a, you just don't have the experience to fix it properly yourself. And that's aggravating. That's really aggravating. You know, when it comes down to it, you know, you either know how to fix your vehicle or you don't. And if you know how to fix it, then that's fine. But don't don't ask for information if you're going to fix it yourself, because you're just wasting technicians' time. You know, when you look at a technician's time, I mean, that's all that we have. I mean, that's what we work off of is time. You know, that's what we get paid is time. When we look at, you know, time, you know, I get paid. I get paid time. I get paid by, you know, per job, whatever. So it's kind of like, well, I'm getting paid by the job, and I mean, I'm getting paid flat rate or whatever. You know, all you're doing at that point is, you know, wasting my time. The time that I'm sitting here giving you information that you're not buying anything, you are just taking away from what I could be doing. I could be, you know, I could be working on somebody else's vehicle who actually has a concern that they're willing to fix. And because I'm sitting here taking the time working on your vehicle, it's allowing another technician to get that ticket and, you know, move on. And it's annoying. I mean, it's really annoying to see that. I hate seeing another technician get a ticket that I should have had. I'm not a prima donna or anything about it. You know, I don't get too upset about it. You know, I'm proud to see, you know, my co-workers, you know, make some money too. And, you know, I think everybody should get some good tickets and, you know, get some good work. But it's also annoying too to see that, you know, the same technician, there's literally one tech in that shop that gets all the work. So if he's at the shop, then he's getting all the work. But when it comes down to, you know, when he's in the shop, he gets all the work. He's like a favorite. You know, we have another guy who's he does state inspection. Well, when he does state inspections all day, you know, he's only getting paid half an hour per state inspection that he does. So, you know, you think about it, he needs to turn 10 hours or whatever. You know, if he had to turn, you know, 10 hours, you know, just for him to turn 10 hours, well, he'd have to do 20 state inspections all day just to turn, you know, that around. And that's the thing that I'm sure he gets annoyed about is, you know, all I'm doing is state inspections and I'm only getting paid half an hour to do them, which is garbage. Because within a state inspection, you need to look at everything on the vehicle to see if it passes or not. Well, when you move on past the fact that, you know, they got to look at all of that stuff, well, on top of that, they got to go to the state police website and, you know, write a sticker and everything for it. Honestly, I think state inspection should pay at least 45 minutes. I think it should pay 30 minutes for the inspection alone, and then, you know, 15 minutes to get on there and write the sticker and, you know, scrape the old one off and everything else. That's one of the biggest reasons why I don't have a state inspection license, is because I don't want to be dedicated to just doing state inspection all the time. I just think it's annoying. Which I also, at the same time though, if I get like a state inspection oil change, that'd be a pretty good ticket. I mean, a state inspection oil change, you look at it, you know, I'm sitting there doing a state inspection oil change, you know, I'm getting paid, you know, that's paying pretty much, you know, what would it be? I don't know. It's pretty much, it's paying like 48 minutes to do, you know, that state inspection oil change, which is something that I'd really like to have personally, would be, you know, that state inspection oil change, because, you know, getting paid almost a full hour to do that is good. I mean, that's good money. And on top of that, you know, doing an alignment service, you know, I hate doing alignments, but here's the thing about doing an alignment. You get paid, an hour and like 12 minutes to do an alignment service. So, depending on how long it takes you or whatever, should it take you an hour to do an alignment? No. An alignment should only take you about 30 to 45 minutes. I mean, if you're doing front and rear. You know, with an alignment, you know, it should take you 30 to 45 minutes, depending on, you know, whether you're just doing the front end or... just coming down to whatever you're doing. That's just what it comes down to. Now if you gotta do a full wheel alignment, you know, it has, you know, you gotta adjust the rear and everything. That's kind of annoying. So, it's kind of just how it works. So, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do at the end of the day. So, that's just kind of how it works, man. I mean, you just gotta look at everything in that perspective. That's just kind of how I look at things, so. There's plenty of work in the shop, though. You know, everybody gets a little bit of... everybody kind of gets a silver spoon in their mouth when there's enough work in the shop to keep us busy all day. But I mean, really, when I look at it, you know, how much work does our shop really get? We usually get about 30 cars a day. So, doing 30 cars a day with 4 technicians, you know, it's about 7 cars. Well, really, I mean, no, we get about 24. We get about 24 cars a day. So getting 24 cars a day, what it comes down to is, you know, it's about 6. I mean, typically what I see a lot of times is everybody gets about Oh my lord.
An update from that game going on in the Meadowlands. The Jets are out to the early lead. Bryce Petty hooking up with his guys early and often. 3 first-half touchdowns.
You know how many cars everybody gets is about 60 cars a day. And off those 6 cars, you're either going to have a good day off of those 6 cars or you're not. Me personally, when I work on Sunday, that's usually when I get... When I get those 6 cars or whatever, that's usually when I get my most... or when I work on Sunday, you know, I usually get most of my hours. I think last Sunday that I worked, I turned like 8.5 hours, and then the other day I turned, the most hours I've turned in one day was like 10.7 or something like that. So that was a really good day. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that was on like Monday. Anytime I'm turning over 10 hours, that's a good day for me. I'm happy with that. I had to stay an hour and a half, you know, later than what I would have had to have worked, but you know, I did like three alignments. My biggest thing though, what I want to get really good at doing is alignment services. If I could get really good at doing alignments, that'd be really cool for me. Because I'd make a lot of money off of alignment. So I mean, being a flat rate tech, you know, just starting out, what you need to get good at is, you know, doing alignments. Get really good at doing alignment services. If you could get really good at doing a alignment, you'd be golden. I mean, think about it. You know, you work 8 hours. Most people only work 8. You know, me, I work 10. Which I don't mind working 10 because it gives me more opportunity to turn even more hours than I normally would have. So that's just kind of what it comes down to with that is you know, the more opportunity you get, a lot of people don't want to work more than 8 hours. I mean, most people just want to work 8 hours and go home. You know, work 5 days a week, 8 hours, you know, work it and, you know, turn 40 hours and go home. And that's fine too. I mean, if that's all you want to work, then, you know, that's good. If you can turn the hours like that, then that's, you know, that's good stuff. Me personally, I prefer more hours because, you know, it provides more opportunity. That's just kind of how it works, though. So, I mean, it's a giver. I mean, it's a scheme that you gotta really just... It's just something that you really gotta play with. You know, you gotta expect... When you go into work, you gotta expect one thing, and that's to expect that you're gonna make a bunch of money and turn a bunch of hours. You know, that's the mindset you gotta go in with. When you go to work every day, I go to work with the idea that I'm going to turn 10 hours a day. If I turn 10 hours a day every day, I would turn 50 hours a week. But, you know, that's not really something. That's not really something that, you know, I have the opportunity to really turn right now. Me personally, one of the biggest things that aggravates me is I get aggravated very easily with the fact of, you know, I'll sell something so when I sell something it's annoying to see I think that I see a lot of the time is, you know, I'll try to sell something. I'll try to sell a service. Though the service sells, but then the issue with that is, even though I sold that service, they give it away to somebody else. And that's something that really gets on my nerves. Because I sold it. You know, I diagnosed it, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, the fact that if I sell it, then it should be my job. You know, if I found it, it should be my job. And the thing is, they're like, oh, well, you know, this sold, but go ahead and finish that up. And then they'll write the name of the other tech that's going to perform it. And then they'll be like, go ahead and send that ticket over. Go ahead and send that ticket over there to them. And I'm just like, what do you mean? They're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to let them do it because, you know, we feel like, you know, they'll do a better job. And I'm just like, really? And the thing that I don't think they understand is, you know, that's not how it works. That's, you know, maybe imaginary in their mind, that's how things work, but any shop I ever worked at, you know, if I sold a service or whatever, it's kind of like, you know, if I diagnose it, you know, it should be my job, it should be my ticket. So the fact that, you know, the fact that you try to sell something or whatever, and then, you know, the job gives it away to, you know, another technician, that's really annoying. That's something that aggravates me a lot of the time. But I mean, it's just something you got to deal with and just get over it and move on to the next car. I mean, there's other cars that need to be serviced, and you need to, you know, keep pushing out on that. Just gotta get over yourself sometimes. That's you know, another big thing, you know, that I could recommend to new technicians out there, new mechanics, is that, you know, the first thing you need to do to work in a shop, I know a lot of you are coming out of tech school, whatever, and you know, you passed tech school and you were top in your class in tech school. That's really cool, and, you know, congratulations on that. But the first thing you need to do when you come into a shop is realize this job is all about experience. It's not about what you learned in tech school anymore, which, I mean, yes, tech school is going to give you an idea of what's going on, but oh shit. within all of that, though, leave your ego at the door when you first start working at a shop. Because the first thing that you're going to realize is the simple fact that, you know, leave your ego at the door, because the first thing you're going to realize is working in the shop and going to tech school is two different things. You know, you're going to learn that turning wrenches for real is a lot more difficult than passing a test in school. I made the mistake when I left tech school. I made the mistake of having the ego. Now me, I've already had some mechanical experience under my belt. So I was like, well, yeah, you know, I worked on cars before and I went to tech school, so, you know, I know what I'm doing. Well, whatever. Well, here's the problem with that. Everybody's going to make mistakes. It doesn't matter if you have 1 year, 1 day, or 20 years under your belt. You know, it's going to come down to everybody makes mistakes. Me, yesterday, I made a mistake of, we have a floor lift that comes out of the floor, and it has like these plates that you could lift up to put on the pinch wheel or the frame or wherever you're gonna put your lift at. I made the mistake of not putting it back down, and I was working on a Tahoe, and when I was pulling the Tahoe out of my bay, you know, I hear myself hit the lift all the time. I hit the lift constantly. Whether it's with the tire or whatever, just rubbing and pushing it in, you know, I do it all the time. Well, this time it was a different noise. And with that being a thing, you know, what I had done was, on this Tahoe, it had a plastic panel piece that was under the bumper that kind of worked its way, kind of like, sort of like a shield or something, I don't know. But the thing with that was, it ripped it off. It ripped the screw out of it. So it was kind of like dragging its way out a little bit. So it was kind of like, oops. But I mean, with 4 years experience, I've never done that, but that was the first time that I've done it. And it happens. You know, it's kind of just like a rookie mistake that I made, and I mean, it happens, whatever. If you break something, be honest about it. I mean, just get it fixed. Just go ahead and fix it and whatever. You know, it's not that hard to fix it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. What came out to be for me, though, was pretty simple. So for me, it was kind of like, you know, go ahead, fix it. And I went ahead and threw a screw back in it, and then, you know, I laid on the floor, whatever, and the floor is real greasy, and so I had, you know, grease all up and down my arm from laying on the floor for a minute. So to me, it was like, okay, well, let me go into the bathroom real quick and wash this grease off my arm. Well, the problem with that was, when I came back out, I knew that toward the center of the piece of plastic, it was kind of hanging off. Like, it didn't look how it was supposed to look, and I wasn't done. Well, I came back out, and the guy that I work with, you know, he had something smart to say about it, and I didn't appreciate him saying that to me. You know, yesterday was kind of like a feud with him, which we're still cool. I mean, we just have our disagreements, and we've been having our disagreements on things. He's pretty much the service manager. So he sits out in the shop all day and, you know, kind of calls customers and tries to get stuff set up. But the thing with him, though, the thing that he had said to me was, you know, I didn't think he was in any way. He should have never said it to me. It pissed me off. He said, you know, if you fuck something up, don't half-ass it. And I was like, I didn't half-ass it. I said I wasn't done. I said I had grease up and down my arm and I was trying to wash it off. He said, yeah, okay. And he thought I was just going to pull it out and I was just done with it, which wasn't at all the case at all. I wasn't about to pull this car out. I wasn't, you know, done fixing it yet. But he made it seem like, you know, I was just being crooked and I was going to fuck this, you know, this truck up or whatever, and then I was just going to, you know, let it go and let it look like that, which was not at all in any way, that wasn't my intention. You know, that's not what I was doing, but, you know, that's what he thought I was doing, so whatever. Well, so that pissed me off, and, you know, I get pissed off a lot at work when I have a disagreement with somebody, but that's the thing with ego, you gotta leave your ego. You can't sit there and, you know, cuss somebody out, especially not the service manager. You know, tell them to fuck off or anything like that, no matter how bad you want to. My problem with him is I have a little bit of an issue with authority with him because he doesn't really know what the fuck he's talking about. He knows how to change oil, put tires on the car, and do basic maintenance. Yeah, he does know how to do that. But the thing about him is he's just never really worked in another shop other than a Firestone. He's never been a true technician. So he doesn't really know what the fuck he's talking about. He just acts like he knows what he's talking about because he sees what he's seen over the years with other technicians explaining things to him and showing him these problems, and he just assumes that he knows what the fuck he's doing, and it's by far nowhere at all true. He has no clue what he is doing. So he's just aggravating. He's a very aggravating person. He's in the Marine Corps, so that's cool, whatever, but he expects things to be done in a certain way, and he has different values than, you know, maybe 19-year-old kid does. So we don't really see eye to eye on some things, but, you know, we just let things go. So pretty much what it comes down to be is he just gets on my fucking nerves, but, you know, I respect him. But another thing that, you know, he said to me yesterday was I was doing a flat repair on a vehicle, which is where you take a patch plug and, you know, grind out the inside of the tire and pretty much drive a drill, or, well, they don't have a drill, which is bullshit. So you gotta use this fucking hand tool to stick it through the fucking hole, which is really annoying too. But his thing with that is, you know, I grinded it out. I grinded the fucking hole out and everything like I was supposed to. I did everything I was, you know, meant to do. Whatnot, you know, everything was done properly. I do everything properly. Well, the problem that came with that was, you know, I did everything I was supposed to do with it, And I did, you know, the job, how the job was meant to be done, and got to the point of trying to push this fucking patch plug through this hole. And, you know, I grinded it down, I scraped it, and I sprayed tire prep and dried it off, and then, you know, spread the rubber cement or the glue on the inside of the tire, and I was working my way to pushing the plug through it. And I was like, hey, do we have any, you know, smaller plugs in this patch plug? He said, no, that's the smallest one we got. I said, no, it's not. This is like a medium. I said, we have medium, large, and small. This is a medium. Well, he argued the fact that it was not a medium plug. He said, we only carry 2 sizes. And I was like, well, that's kind of bullshit because I've used a smaller size than this before. It was a 38. This is a 48. He said, we don't have any 38 nothings. And I was like, you're fucking stupid because we do. He's like, I know what we carry. And I said, no, obviously you don't. But he just kept on pushing the fact that he knew what he was talking about. Even though that I've used the patch plug at that shop before. I know for a fact I used it before because I used it fucking last week. And it was the last fucking patch plug in the box, so I was like, dude, the fucking box is up there somewhere. I said, the empty box that had the 38s in it. He said, well, we don't carry it. He said, that's just how it is. And I said, okay, whatever. I wasn't going to make a big deal about it. I mean, I was just annoyed with the fact that he was just annoying with it. But what it ultimately came down to was the simple fact of whatever. You know, whatever, let it be. Not a big deal. I don't care. So that's ultimately just kind of how it fucking went. So it's annoying, and I mean, working at any shop, it's annoying. So pretty much, though, ultimately, what it comes down to be is whatever. So pretty much to sum it all up, my topic for the whole thing was, or is, you know, is it worth being an automotive tech in today's world right now? I would say no, not really. But yes at the same time. As far as doing something that you enjoy doing, if you're expecting to make $80,000 a year like they fucking say you can do, I would say don't get your hopes up. If you get lucky and, you know, your area, you know, if you're going to be an automotive technician, don't work in an area that doesn't have a decent amount of money. Go, if you have to drive 30 to 45 minutes to go to work every day, do it, because if you can go work in an area where people have money and they don't buy fucking BMW or Mercedes that they're still paying the car note on and they can barely afford that, don't work in shops like that. Go work in a shop with people that have decent vehicles I mean, look at the shop, see what kind of vehicles people are driving that are getting fixed. If you see a bunch of fucking 90s model vehicles, then it's probably not a shop for you. You see a bunch of BMW and Mercedes, it's probably not a shop for you. You want to find GM, Ford, Toyota, stuff like that, that are, you know, vehicles that are not older than probably about 2009, 2010. I would even say 2012 at this point. If a majority of the vehicles are more than, you know, 6 years old, then it's not a good shop to work at. A 6-year-old car is, you know, pretty decent, and it being 6 years old, those are the cars that are right around the time that are starting to need maintenance. You know, ball joints or CV axles, or, you know, services like you know, services that are like rear end services, and, you know, whatever it may be, timing belts, drive belts, anything like that, anything that you can make easy money off of. That's what I would say. So just find a place where people got a decent amount of money that they're not gonna be stingy as fuck and not pay you any money for anything. Um, don't be crooked, don't be a thief, don't steal from customers, but I mean, if you see something to recommend, go ahead and fucking write it down, recommend it, and just say fuck the rest. I mean, it just came down to it. I mean, I get annoyed because people don't want to spend no money, and I feel like my time's been wasted that I sat there and gave them information that they're not even gonna fucking fix anything with. And that's really annoying. But it is what it is sometimes. You just gotta get over it. Oh, Lordy. But other than that, F&G the Pro TV here. I'm gonna lay down and take a nap. Take me a 2-hour nap or something till I gotta get up to go to work. I woke up really early this morning, so woke up at like 3 in the morning. So I need a little bit of a refreshment nap and then get ready to go to work, and then I'll probably get on here and stream again and talk about, you know, some more tool selection and stuff like that. But the final answer is be a technician if you want to be one, and just don't expect to make, you know, a ton of money until you have, you know, 5 years in. Your first 5 years of doing it, you're probably gonna make no more than like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Even less even. I mean, first year you'll make about $1,600 a month. And then, you know, your second year you'll probably make about $2,000 a month. Your third year you'll start making about $2,400 a month, and then your fourth or your, you know, third year in or whatever, you'll make, first year's like 16, 17. Second year's probably about 2,200 a month. Third year's about 2,600. By the time you get to your fourth and fifth year, you'll start making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, depending on what shop you work at. And the thing you got to remember is your job is where you work. Your career is an automotive technician. Don't stay at a job that there's no money. If there's no money at that job, then, you know, you got your tools built up, you got a toolbox built up and everything, and, you know, you spent some money, then go ahead and move to another shop. Take the experience that you learned and take your tools to another shop and go make some real money. Another thing is, you know, just don't stick around at bullshit places. But, I mean, don't walk out the door once you just got your foot in the door and you need to build a toolbox. If you don't have a toolbox built up, then you can just expect to stay at that shop until, you know, you fill your starter box up filled with, you know, tool truck tools and VIM and stuff like that. Milwaukee, whatever you decide that you want to use, doesn't really matter. As long as, you know, they're good quality tools. And then, you know, build some experience, watch some of the older guys, and, you know, learn something that you can, and just learn how to milk that flat rate. And then you'll be okay to just be able to move shop to shop. You know, when it gets real slow at one shop and, you know, it stays slow for a long time and the Google reviews are really crappy, then that probably tells you that it's time to find another shop to go work at. But don't leave a job until, you know, one job says, you know, that they'll hire you and you're guaranteed to get hired. And then take that and, you know, get some ASE certifications and state inspection licensing, and, you know, you're free to ask for $20 an hour at that point. You know, at 5 years or whatever, with all your certifications, Master Tech certifications and ASEs, all 8 ASEs, and, you know, full certification, state inspection license and everything. If you're not being paid $20, $18 to $25 an hour, then you're not making enough money, and you just need to go find a shop that will pay you for your experience and licensing and time and your tools. That also has a very good rate of turning around flat rate hours, flagging hours. But other than that, again, F&G the Pro TV, and I'll see y'all later on. I'm hop off of here.